Hello, everyone. I just want to do a brief video on the essays that we'll be doing for this course. There's no reason to worry about this stuff now. The first essay is not due until after, um, I think, the end of week 4 of the class, once we've read the part 1 materials. And that's what I want to emphasize here is that although these uh, all have the same nature, that is, each one of these essays is based upon a fictional case study that I wrote. But each one of these case studies is supposed to reflect at least some of the issues that are raised in each particular part of the course, and that should be obvious. They may not relate to everything and all the readings, but they certainly will relate to some of the themes and some of the readings that we look at in that particular section of the course that the assignment follows. I won't give it away. I mean, part of it is for you to see that. But in any case, the assignment is always the same. Basically, a 500-word essay responding to a question about one of these case studies, all of which are obviously uh, fictional. I wrote them. Um, so if we look at the first one, the OPAD, obviously, I wrote this a long time ago when the Apple iPad was still kind of a thing. So it's kind of outmoded or it's kind of old fashioned, but I think the point obviously is still relevant. So the idea is just in each case to actually read the case study and then answer the question that's asked in the essay assignment, which you should answer. You should answer that question. For instance, in this OPAD case study, which executive's advice do you take and why? That is, you really have to address that particular question. Uh, Meaning you have to choose and you have to defend your choice. To do anything else would not be to do the assignment. There is no right answer. Um, the purpose of each one of these case studies is to put you in a difficult position where you have to make difficult choices about what the course of action you should take is. Um, if we look at the second case study, a potential hire, you are in the position of deciding whether or not to decide to hire a candidate for a job, and having learned something about her history, whether you consider that to be a plus or a minus, basically, in terms of what your decision to hire her. Again, there's no right answer, and either one of the choices, you need to make sacrifices. There's no perfect response. You have to weigh the pros and cons, and there always will be cons. So the thing you shouldn't do in response to questions like these about hypothetical is to come up with some fantasy solution in which uh, there are no penalties, where there's no downside. That's what maybe our natural reaction is, to rewrite the scenario, rewrite the question so that we don't have to make a decision with any downsides. That would not really be to respond to the assignment. The assignment really is to choose the best course of action, which may be the least bad course of action. I mean, clearly, let's say in this study from later in the course, Bicycles in Ohio, you have to make a choice. And this obviously relates to the question of the competing claims of shareholders and stakeholders. You have to make a decision about what your company should do. And either decision that you make will require some sacrifices, either in the welfare of the community that your business is in, or in the kind of profits that you can make. I mean, again, there's no one right answer. There's no wrong answer, but you do have to make a decision. And again, it would not be a good response to the assignment if you refuse to make that decision, or you change the facts, or you change the question in somewhere where you could have your cake and eat it too. No, you have to show that you have the ability to make these kind of judgments in difficult situations, and to choose, again, the best option or the least bad option. Um, Obviously, again, they're all fictional, but take this one, selling risk. I mean, you are an employee of a company, and the company expects you to make as much money for them as possible, and you have to acknowledge that. But you also have to acknowledge that your customers uh, don't know as much about the business as you do, and you have some responsibility to protect them as well. And it's really not clear at all what you should do in a given situation. So each one of these case studies is meant to put you in a difficult spot as a writer, and meant to have you make difficult choices. So don't evade that. It's okay. You know, um, one of the things that we want to do as human beings, I think, is to take care of everybody, um, and to do right by everybody. But sometimes you can't make a decision that helps everybody. So this is a part of the assignment, is trying to figure out within those constraints what the best decision is, or what the least bad decision is.